This audio discusses a filing of Nunc Pro Tunc, N-U-N-C, Nunc Pro, P-R-O, Tunc, T-U-N-C. It's a request to reinstate status while you are inside of the United States. So typically, if somebody has no legal status in the United States, for example, they enter the United States under a visa, ESTA, visa waiver, time has passed by, they did not depart the United States on or before the I-94 admission stamp placed into their passport, and now they are essentially overstaying and they are unlawful. They have no legal status in the United States. The options for these types of people are limited. One such option is you meet the love of your life, you marry the love of your life, a United States citizen, and that United States citizen is acting as your petitioner in an adjust status application, and you can file for your green card. Not everybody meets the love of their life. What are the other options? Well, the option I'm going to discuss in this audio is Nunc Pro Tunc. How do you reinstate status in the United States? Does it work? What does it get you? I have successfully filed this in the past, and I'll give you an overview of the case and how it worked. So a mother and a couple of kids, it was actually 3 children, and the spouse died. It was a tragic, unforeseen death. The spouse held non-immigrant visa status. For argument's sake, we will say it was E visa category. He was the principal applicant. His wife was given her dependent E status, and the children were given their dependent E status. When the spouse died as the main applicant, the spouse and the children, their E status also died. It was terminated. Because it was a tragic, unforeseen death, the spouse, just lost in her grief, was not made aware that she no longer had legal status, nor did her children, in the United States. Time passed by, and it was brought to her attention that she had no legal status. So much time had lapsed that if she now departed the United States, she and her children would trigger a bar that would preclude them, that would obviate them from re-entering the United States for many years. This was not an option. Her children were enrolled in school, and, America had become a way of life for them. They had been here many years under their non-immigrant visa, and she did not wish to return to her home country. We were able to file a Nunc Pro Tunc application. And what it did was it reinstated the family, so their past unlawful presence that had accrued from the death of the spouse was put back into good standing. And she now was permitted to file another visa inside of the United States without having to depart, because now she was put back in status because the Nunc Pro Tunc was approved. And from there, her and her children were able to file for a non-immigrant visa, and then they were able to proceed with a green card. In fact, we filed an O1, an extraordinary ability application for her, and from there she was able to self-petition for herself and her children, and they all got green cards. They did not trigger the bar because they did not have to leave the United States. That is the whole point of Nunc Pro Tunc. It's reinstating your unlawful status, so it puts you back into good standing legal status without having to depart the United States, which has a whole myriad of consequences, because you're triggering bars, you will need waivers to re-enter, it can be years before you're readmitted, etc. So how does this Nunc Pro Tunc essentially work? So you are requesting to potentially reinstate your legal status. And in some cases, USCIS may even backdate the new I-94, your admission status. You are requesting based on a family emergency, which was the case that I've just described. It was a family emergency. You can request it due to an error by your previous employer if you had an employment-based visa. You can request it because maybe there was an unfortunate oversight. I was actually Googling what is the English definition of Nunc Pro Tunc, because it's a Latin phrase. I did Latin actually in school. I know that makes me sound ancient. I'm not. It was a choice to do Latin. I went to a Catholic convent school in Limerick, Ireland, and Latin was my chosen subject. And Nunc Pro Tunc means now for then. You're essentially asking for forgiveness and file for your status to be backdated. So Nunc Pro Tunc is discretionary. It is adjudicated by USCIS. They may approve a late filed request to either change or extend status based on facts and extenuating circumstances presented. By it being a discretionary remedy, I mean that USCIS has the discretion whether they wish to approve your Nunc Pro Tunc request. They are looking to see, is the late filing of the Nunc Pro Tunc as a result of something extraordinary? What extraordinary circumstance was beyond the control of the applicant or the petitioner that delayed them in their circumstances? Or that the foreign national has not otherwise violated his or her non-immigrant status, or the foreign national remains in bona fide non-immigrant status, and that the foreign national is not subject to deportation or removal proceedings. So it is a discretionary remedy. It is up to USCIS on whether they are going to accept and adjudicate the Nunc Pro Tunc. So Nunc Pro Tunc is a really good discretionary remedy if you qualify to file with USCIS to reinstate your status, and from there do what you need to do to either extend your legal status, or even at that point you can depart the United States and not trigger bars.